everyone, and welcome to Coming Soon Reviews. This is a show where every week I will review a wide release film and give you both the positives and the negatives, as well as my overall review of the film in general. So without any further ado, let's get started with my review of Transformers: Age of Extinction. One thing I felt worked so much better, and I had a feeling about this coming into the film, Mark Wahlberg is so much better of a leading man than Shia LaBeouf. Shia LaBeouf worked in the first film. But I felt after that, because the first film, the crux of the story was about a kid getting his first car. And a lot of people could really relate to that. And that's why I feel that the first movie really worked. But then they kept going with that. And they went, okay, well, the second one's going to be about a kid going off to college for the first time. And it's, well, no, you can't keep doing that with these films because the storylines don't make sense, and you keep making them longer on premises that are going to be shorter. So I don't think that was the right course. And then the third one was the kid getting his first job after college. And so I just, like, there were a lot of wasted opportunities for that. This movie is completely different. Mark Wahlberg plays an inventor who basically goes through and finds all this, like, he runs a scrapyard, essentially. It's not actually a scrapyard, but he goes and gets all this different junk, and he tries to invent stuff. Like, he's got this robot guard dog thing that doesn't work at all. He's got a couple of different things that he's tried to invent. And he's doing it because his wife passed away, and he doesn't have an actual job other than this, so he repairs old technology like a CD player and stuff like that. So his character was the type of person who you could root for. Not his daughter. His daughter was really irritating, but I could really get behind Mark Wahlberg. Also, he's a very likable individual in general. Like, he's Mark Wahlberg. People like watching him. So another thing I felt that really worked about this film, even though there was still a lot of stuff on the humans, it focused more on the Autobots. Or not on the Autobots, the Transformers in general. There was a lot more stuff between the Autobots, between the Decepticons, between Lockdown, and, you know, all these different things. And then the human-made Transformers, and it really does open up this universe to more possibilities. I felt that even though he chewed the scenery like with the best of them, Kelsey Grammer really did play a very good human villain, and he played the best human villain that we've had so far. Even I felt that Patrick Dempsey was not very good as the villain in Transformers 3. He didn't come across as evil to me. He came across as being just sneaky. But no, Attinger in this movie is a force to be reckoned with. He is mean. And he's got a lot of power. So I felt that, you know, that was a really good plus over the other films. Also, the special effects were just unbelievable in this movie. I know there were certain points where there were special effects on screen, but I didn't really realize it. There were other instances in the film, however, that I did really notice that someone was standing in front of a blue screen. A lot of it had to deal with when they were trying to get from Lockdown ship to it was called the Sears Tower. I can't remember what it's called now in Chicago, but when all those cables are going across, a lot of those segments you could really tell that they were on green screen. But how else going into it that they did not film that? That's a lot of special effects. So I mean, it's kind of a second tier thing with that. The one real big positive, I was kind of worried about this when I heard this rumor, but the human-made Transformers, both Stinger and Galvatron, were really cool. You don't get a lot of information about them. Like, Stinger is based off of Bumblebee, and Galvatron is based off of Megatron, although they were trying to base him off of Optimus Prime. That's how they wanted him to look, but he kept looking like Megatron because they were using the head of Megatron, the busted old head of Megatron, to try and build him. And it looked really cool the way they transform, because they basically go into all these little dots and they can float around and fly around. You've seen a little bit of that in the trailer. But to me, it was really cool because it was new, it was unique. We hadn't seen it before. I do feel that with those effects, however, that they could have spent a little bit more time making them photoreal, because anytime they were transitioning around, I felt like I was watching a cutscene from a video game, because it unfortunately just didn't look too photorealistic. But I did feel that their designs overall were really cool. I loved the color scheme of Galvatron. I love the fact that they got Frank Welker back to voice him, because he was the voice of Megatron in the original cartoon series. So I really felt that it was great that they got him in to do the voice of Galvatron. And out of all of them, it is by far the second best Transformers movie that they have come out with. In my personal ranking system, it goes Transformers, Transformers Age of Extinction, Transformers Dark of the Moon, and then nothing, more nothing, more nothing, maybe more nothing, and then Transformers Revenge of the Fallen. All right, so those are all my positives. Let's get into the negatives. So the one that I think you're going to see across the board, the movie's way too damn long. It is 2 hours and 46 minutes, I think. It is way too long. There's a whole segment in the middle of the movie that they could have cut out. The thing I really liked about the beginning of the film, this is going back to the positives just for a second, was the initial setup. We did get to see certain Transformers at the beginning, which I did not want to see. I wanted it to be very similar to the first one, where it's a build-up. We have to wait to see it, because if you show us everything, it's not going to have the same impact. So if we are, like with Jaws, for instance, if Jaws was made today, you can bet your bottom dollar that they would show the shark for more than 60% of the movie, and it wouldn't be anywhere near as good as the original. And even that was their original intent. The shark just didn't work. The less you see, the better it is, because your imagination takes over. And just imagining, like, oh, what have these cars been doing? Why is Bumblebee hiding? You know, why is Optimus hiding? We get a sense of why that is, but I almost wish that they could have spent a little bit more time onto that. Another thing too, the stakes didn't feel very high compared to the other ones. Like I really didn't feel. I didn't feel like I did at the end of the third movie. Like the third movie feels big. It feels the world is coming to a close. Like this is going to be the end of the human race. And in this film, I did not feel that. I didn't even feel that Optimus was really in a lot of danger. I didn't feel that Mark Wahlberg's character was in any sort of danger. Any of the human characters at all, I didn't feel were in any sort of danger, really. And it really took away from that. And the biggest negative I could say about the film is Galvatron was severely underused. Lockdown could have been a little bit better. Actually, you know what? No, Lockdown was pretty cool because he's not a Decepticon or an Autobot. He is a mercenary. He's a bounty hunter, and he works for whoever's paying him the most. In this movie, this is a minor spoiler for the next one, but if you see Transformers 4, they talk about it. And I tweeted this out the other day because I read an interview with Michael Bay where he actually talked about where the next one's going. And he actually, Lockdown works for the creators. At the very end of the movie, he goes to Optimus, he goes, "You were not born, you were built. You were created." And the creators, yada, 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 yada. So that's where the next one is going to go to, is going to go to the creators. And that to me is huge, because that's opening up this universe. It's opening up this world. I just hope, I never thought I'd say this, I hope Michael Bay doesn't direct it. Either that, or I hope you get someone else with stones bigger than Michael Bay to be above him on the production scale. Because someone needs to tell the guy, no. You need to say, no, don't do this. I did feel, outside of length, I did feel they removed a lot of the silliness from the movies. This was the least silly of them all, which I really admired about it. I think that's one of the reasons why, even as I was watching it, I felt that it wasn't overly long per se. It just had a lot of things in it that did not need to be there. That could have been just deleted scenes on a Blu-ray. They didn't need to be in the movie. So my overall score of the film is, I wanted to originally give it an 8. But after watching, or after thinking about it and going over it a little bit more, and some of the things that I feel weighed down on it a little bit too much, so I ended up giving it, it's a 7 out of 10. It's still a very entertaining film. One other negative too, again, spoiler territory. If you don't want to know anything more about the film, you guys can shut the video off, but this is kind of a spoiler, and I was really disappointed with this. So I'm going to start talking about it right now. The Dinobots are only in the movie for like 25 minutes. And most of the scenes you see them in have been shown in the trailers. They were still really cool. They did not serve any purpose whatsoever in the movie. The history of them didn't make any sense, because it was relying on the seed that the Transformers, the creators, actually go out and they seed these planets. In the trailer, all those ships that kind of they're floating above Earth, and you see they got the orange band. Those are the ships of the creators, and they're seeding planets. And so they show Earth 65 million years ago, and these ships go down and they drop all these seeds on the planet, and the seeds basically turn all the material that's on the surface or even further down in the material of the Earth or the planet, whatever planet they're on, turns it into the same material that the Transformers are made out of. And so that's the reasons why the dinosaurs were actually extinct. And so some of the dinosaurs were actually transformed into these Dinobots, as it were. When you see them in human form, or in Transformer form, they're really cool. And even in dinosaur form, they're really cool too. I did feel, however, though, they should have had a few smaller ones, because they were big. Like Spike, when you see Spike, almost changes perspectives when you see him throughout the film. Because when the initial time when you see him, he looks smaller than Galvatron, than Grimlock. But then when you see him later on, he's bigger than Grimlock. But anyway, I felt that they were really underused. They felt like they were only in there to sell toys, which is a real shame because they were great characters in the original comics and in the original cartoons. But those are really my big negatives about the film. Overall, I still felt it was very entertaining. It was one of the more enjoyable Transformers movies. This was going to make a ton of money. I just hope that they get someone else to come in and direct the next film, or at least have Michael Bay stay on as a producer, but have someone else come in and direct the film and keep it tight. Keep it around like 2 hours and 10 minutes. I'm okay with that. Not 2 hours and 45. We don't need it to be almost a 3-hour action film. Michael Bay always does that, even with Bad Boys 2. Like, I love Bad Boys 2, but there are certain scenes in that movie that could be removed. But anyway, I'm getting off on a tangent. So that's been my review of Transformers Age of Extinction. I gave it a 7 out of 10. So if you guys agree with me, put a comment in the comment section letting me know the things that you did like or didn't like about the film. Or also, if you felt that it was worse or better, let me know. Like, I'm always open to discussions about people as to their feelings about films, what they didn't like about it, or if they didn't like something about it that I did like and why they didn't like it. I love talking about that stuff. So if you want to go ahead, put a comment in the comment section. But this has been Coming Soon Reviews. My name has been Niklsun. You can find me on Twitter at Niklsun, Niklsun. And also don't forget to click subscribe there in the bottom corner. You can get updates whenever I post a new video. So without any further ado, this has been Niklsun. Thank you so much for watching, and you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.